Nice, nice, nice,
Mm.
nice. So, okay, so let's talk a little bit about smart teachers. So, where are smart teachers based?
Okay, so we have an office in Moorgate in the City of London. We also have 3 in Australia. So we've got one in Melbourne, one in Sydney, and one in Brisbane. We do recruitment for the UK. So we recruit for London, the home counties. We have sister companies that work in Birmingham. We have 3 offices in Australia that
Yep.
recruit for every state for independent schools. And they recruit for free. They're a free recruitment service. So my job, I sit in the Moorgate office and I answer questions about immigrating over to Australia, and I prepare people's CVs, chat to them about the process, what you need to be a teacher in Australia, and then when people are ready, when they have a visa, they're ready to go, then I just let my colleagues in the Australian offices take over. They know the clients, they know the schools, and they're in great hands in Australia.
Excellent.
Mm.
Cool. So, how many teachers? Like, I mean, the phone's ringing red hot this time
Yeah,
of year.
definitely. Particularly last week when it was snowing. I look out the window in the morning. I'm like, oh, I'm going to be busy today, because when it starts to get a bit
Yeah.
cloudy, it means people start to entertain the idea of moving abroad. But so many people want to move to Australia to teach. We get about 3,000 inquiries a year at the moment of people wanting to move to Australia to teach. But the interesting thing is that it's not as simple as literally just taking your UK qualifications and stepping off the plane and walking into a school. There is a lot to think about, a lot to the process. The market is very different. It operates very differently. The head teachers are very different too with their approach to interviewing. I was just talking to someone on the chat about securing a job while you're still abroad. It's very tricky to do that in teaching, because the market is competitive. The head teachers tend to want to meet you face to face, so they don't tend to prioritize CVs of those who are still in another country. I mean, you can say that with any job, I guess. You know, you always are at a disadvantage if you're trying to get the job before you leave, because you know your competition are stronger. They can shake the client's hand. So our company, we certainly do try to help people find a job before they leave. We have had success, definitely. It does happen quite a lot, but we never really guarantee it. We like to manage people's expectations. The biggest thing that I talk about all day is visas, which often I'm just handballing over to the Down Under Centre, because obviously my experience of visas and the amount of information I know about visas is quite limited. It's so important to have a visa. The very first step, if you're looking to immigrate over to Australia, is to check whether you can do that, because there are rules and there are restrictions on who can migrate. If you are eligible for a visa, we can definitely help you. It needs to be a visa that doesn't rely on a job offer, though, because schools don't really want to employ someone who don't have a visa. So definitely get the visa first. It's your right to work. Put it on the top of your CV. Another thing is, people always ask, when should I apply for jobs? When is the best time? Well, like I said, best time, have the visa first, because visas can take months and months and months. You don't want to you don't want to apply without the visa. September, start applying. That's a huge recruitment period for Australian schools, and that's because our academic year runs from January to December. September is when all the jobs come up for January. September is when the interviews take place. So best time to be in Australia on the ground is September. You can meet face-to-face for interviews for January, and that is the highest recruitment period. Hints and some tips for your CV. Definitely put your visa information on your CV. I'm stressing this a lot, I guess. But, I think it's just because sometimes I feel like a broken record, because it's the most common question I get, and it's hard to answer because everyone has a different experience with visas. But as soon as you get the visa, it needs to go on your CV that you have the right to work. Show it. Be proud. You've done it. You've got the right to work. You make sure you highlight extracurricular responsibilities. It's really well received by Australian head teachers. Definitely put a photo. It's something that schools love. A professional photo. I can't count on one hand how many photos I've cringed at, and they are mainly selfies or photos of ball gowns or wedding dresses. It needs to be professional attire.
Yeah.
You know, it needs to be like a link. That's better you put on your LinkedIn. Visa info, a teaching registration number. Now, in another thing, like I was saying, it's not as simple as just jumping on a plane. You need to be approved to teach by the state that you're going to be moving to. So you need to think in advance. 3 months before you leave, you need to apply for your teaching registration in Australia. I think that's how long it takes, and you're not going to be able to finish it, unfortunately, because the final steps, getting your Australian criminal record check and your DBS can only be done on Australian soil, which is a shame because it would be great to finish the entire process while you're still abroad.
Yep.
But we just recommend to people, look, get as much done as you can, get 85% of it done, and when you land, you've got 2 weeks to get your criminal record check, your working with children check, and then you can legally step into school and start work. So, I mean, I guess that's another reason why why schools don't like to Skype interview, because 90% of the time people haven't got the full registration to teach because of that limitation that you you can only finish it when you're there. So our company, we'd love to help. I sit at the office all day, answer questions about teaching in Australia.
It's fun though, isn't it?
I'd love it because I did it too, because I was there for
Good.
4 years teaching music, and it was such a wonderful time for me to do that. And working from London, I worked in London schools. I know what it's like, what the differences are between both countries. I offer advice on teaching registration. I love to hear from people at the early stages when they haven't got the visa, but they're just kind of really unsure about where to go or what to do and what the kids are like. So my email address is on. I'll start typing it up, but you can certainly email me and send it forward along. But I'm available 9 to 5 every day to chat about teaching in Australia. No question is too silly. It's something I'm very passionate about, which is why I'm always smiling when I talk about it.
You are always smiling. It's getting contagious, I think.
Oh, no.
It's getting contagious. But Mo, don't shoot anywhere. Well, Firstly, thanks for doing this. We're going to cross live to northern New South Wales. Mm-hmm. We're going to cross live to New South Wales now. Now, what song are you thinking of singing tonight?
Well, I'm going to sing a really popular Australian tune, and it was written by a guy named Peter Allen.
Yeah.
And it's a beautiful song, but it just became synonymous with our airline, Qantas.
Okay.
I know everyone's probably heard of Qantas Airlines. They have the kangaroo, the red kangaroo on the back. But so this song, it was, he wrote it, and it's a real patriotic song, but it just got played with a Qantas ad, and then it just stuck.
Sure.
So now whenever you go on a Qantas flight, you're bound to hear the song. Okay, it's called I Still Call Australia Home.
Love it.
I've been to cities that never closed down, from New York to Rio and old London town, but no matter how far or how wide I roam, I still call Australia home.